if you were given a platform to, for instance, to speak to a guy like Umar Katz, a senior built environment professional in the public sector, how would you advise them on how they could play a meaningful role, given all the challenges that you know of, given all that you've just told us? How would you advise them to ensure that they play a meaningful role in this economic recovery as built environment professionals?
Okay. Just taking from Mr. Dlamini's answer earlier, he mentioned that in his personal capacity, especially from an academic standpoint, what he will do is that he will write publications and communicate with government in encouraging and in just sharing input of how one can participate in the economic recovery. Now, what I would say, just adding to that, is that that's precisely what we need, because if you look at the infrastructure development symposium that took place in June, the built environment was represented by CISA, and I didn't see other councils there, which was sort of worrying for me, because you have the Council of the Quantity Surveying Profession, you have the South African Council for Project Management, you have EXA, and all these built environment professionals. I think that they all have a responsibility to participate and to partner with government in ensuring that the infrastructure program of government is implemented with the right skills that the built environment has to offer. I would say that the built environment professionals, especially the seniors, must partner with government. I think that government is willing to partner with the built environment professional, because they are the experts in the field, and they are the ones that can actually ensure that these projects are executed accordingly. And they have the necessary skills, they have the necessary experience, they have the innovation that's required, and they have the mentorship capabilities to take young people like myself and to mentor them the right way and show them the ropes of how actually we can implement this program. So I think that the seniors need to say to government, look, we are here, we are willing to assist where we can in partnering with government, because if you look at the history of the infrastructure development program, you'll find that there's been a challenge in implementing these programs, in implementing these projects in the timeframes that the government has set. You look at projects like Medupi, you look at Kusile, all these projects that were set to come online at a particular date. You'll find that it took years for them to actually be commissioned. So I think that all of those things show that there wasn't, in the planning, there wasn't enough professionals. I may be wrong, but I think that it shows that there is room for senior built environment professionals for them to participate, to ensure that whatever program the government has, they are there to partner with the government to ensure that these programs become successful. That's what I would say.
Thanks.
So, I'd like to add on to something that you mentioned about how mentorship and mentorship programs are quite important when it comes to seniors in the public sector that are in a strategic position to basically groom the next generation. So if you were to advise a junior built environment professional in the public sector on the economic recovery of South Africa and playing a meaningful role, what would you share with them, or what would you advise them to do to ensure that they do play a meaningful role? Imagine this as being the platform where you could mentor those that don't have direct access to you.
I've always said that you love asking difficult questions. And I'll be honest with you, you love asking difficult questions. I'm going to answer you in a very simple way. When I first introduced myself, I said to you, I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm also a public servant in the mind, in the act, in the spirit. And I'm a professional in terms of my qualifications and my representation. Just looking at the COVID-19 and the post-recovery, I've mentioned that it's, if I had to put it inverted, we need a divine intervention. Because even before, nothing was happening. So most of the young professionals that are in the public sector, they are fortunate that they won't face retrenchment. They are fortunate that there's a high possibility that they may retain their jobs. But what I've said is that we are moving into a different space. The construction industry or the building industry, it's gonna boom. We will need young blood. We'll need innovative ideas. We'll need new construction companies, new companies that venturing into power, into energy, into manufacturing. And as a youngster, it is an opportunity for youngsters to do their own things and build and capacitate themselves, employ as much people, and take and participate in this economic pandemic that you are facing. That will be my take. And then as an individual, in terms of mentoring, how will I advise the youngsters into this is that they are fortunate that one, they've got a job. They are fortunate that they have an influence in participating both economically and technically. So them being there, participating economically, it's time for them to develop their own things, to grow their own things. It's also time for them to create relationships with private sector, with companies, with the holistic industry, so that they can rise. So it's for me, it's a sensitive matter, and I would love to answer it in that way. Even though I can share much, is that there is much that can be done by young professionals. I'm not saying they're wasting their time in the public sector, but the private sector or the industry wants them, because for us to recover, we need a massive drive and a lot of companies and a lot of resources and a lot of people who are dedicated. That would be my